just got my hair done yesterday and I feel like a new woman. I never noticed how blonde it can actually get until I redo it because it grows out so fast. But I'm in love with it. Anyways, hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I didn't post a video last week. I have been very busy. I've also been in a book slump. I've just been doing a lot. I have an internship right now and so I haven't been in the mood to create, but I realized that it's literally June. We're almost done with June. Like, to clarify, we're closer to July than we are to the beginning of June, which is fucking insane. But that means half the year is already over. Like, we have done 6 months. Like, we only have 6 months left of the year. It's crazy to me. It's a little bit exciting because I love Christmas and I'm like we're closer to Christmas than we are, you know, kind of, not really. When you're seeing this, probably not, but like, you know, it's fine. That's just what I'm getting myself through. I'm telling myself it's almost Christmas because I fucking love Christmas. Anyways, I just figured I would sit down with you guys and kind of just give a little mid-year check-in. I've been reading a lot. This year has definitely been a turning point in my reading journey. I've read so much. I'm almost past how much books I've read last year, so very excited about that. I am in a slump right now, but you know, things happen. So anyways, I figured I would start off this video with some of the analytics of what I've been reading this year. Also, I love these glasses. So if I'm like looking like this, like kind of down the whole time, it's so that you can actually see my eyeballs, because when I do this, the window. So Fable says I've read 31 books this year, but Goodreads says I've read 33 books this year out of my 60 book goal. I literally tried looking what went wrong. Like, I'll count the books that I've read this year on Fable and it's 31, and then I'll count the books that I've read just this year on Goodreads and it's 33. And I like went side by side trying to figure out if I missed one or what. I don't know. I really don't know how there's some kind of like weird thing going on and I don't know. So I'm not 100% sure how many books I've read. We're gonna go with 31 just because Fable has all the analytics. So they'll probably equal 31 on there, but I do think I've read 33. Like, cause I update Goodreads more than I update Fable, so. Anyways, so 31 out of 60 for my goal. My average rating is a 3.7 stars this year, and I only have 2 5-stars this year, so we'll get into that, but my average is a 3.7. I've been trying really hard to be a little bit more picky on my ratings this year, and I feel like I've done a really good job of that. So I think that's where like the lower score is coming in from. My most read genre, if it's a shocker to you, it's not to me, but if it is, romance. I've read 19 romance books, 10 fiction books, 5 young adult books, 4 biographies, and 4 fantasies, which I feel like is pretty true. I have not been in a fantasy mood pretty much this whole year. I am now, but I'm like, I don't know, it's summer, and so I'm like, am I really in a fantasy mood? I'm not 100% sure. So it's not a shocker. I read a lot of romance. I love romance, and it's not trivial. I hate when people are like, oh, you read romance? Yes, I read romance, okay? There are some things to learn in those romance books. Not like weird stuff, but like actual real life lessons. And then my most read authors this year, honestly, pretty much the same across the board. I'll put it up here, but 2 books each for Abby Jimenez, Ali Hazelwood, Emily Henry, Hannah Bona Young, Julie Soto. I've not read 2 Julie Soto books. What? Oh yeah, I did. Oh my god. Okay. Me just now realizing that's the same author. Okay. Liz Tomford, Rebecca Yarros, and Stephanie Garber. Those have all been 2s across the board. So anyways, those are my analytics. Like I said, I've only had 2 5-stars this year, which comes with me being a little bit more pickier with my ratings, like I said I was trying to do. But also, I just like have been reading pretty middle of the road books. Not an awful thing. So yeah, let me know down below what your 5-stars have been so far, because obviously 2 is just not cutting it. It's not cutting it. Anyways, I thought we could talk about some of my favorite books and my least favorite books so far out of the 30 that I've read this year. I think we should start with least favorite. That way we end the video on a high note with my favorites. So my first least favorite book / books of this year are probably going to be Iron Flame and Onyx Storm. I still gave them both 3 stars or higher. So they're not like the worst, they just didn't live up to the hype and the expectations that I had for them. These last two books have honestly made me not want to continue the series, which is kind of sad because I loved the first book. I gave it 5 stars. Fourth Wing was definitely one of my favorites last year, or was it last year? I don't know. Whenever I read it, it was definitely one of my favorites of the year, but these last two releases have just not done it for me. I do think I'll finish the series as it comes out because the hype is just so real around this series and it's kind of fun to be in the middle of it as they come out. But these last two books have not given me really much hope in the series, and so I don't know. They haven't been my favorites. They were definitely unmemorable. I haven't thought about them since, besides like bad things, which is kind of sad. But and then I really, honestly, looking through this, I don't think I have. There's only one book that was like completely my least favorite. I really don't have that many. So I guess my last least favorite was Beneath the Stars by Emily McIntyre. I just did not like this. It's like an interconnected standalone series. It was a book that I read for my book club and it wasn't for me. Like, I get it if it's for you. It's very drama filled and very fast paced. But for me, I didn't do it. I hated our female main character. She also had like a country accent and like that was just throwing me off completely. To me, it felt like she didn't know how to write. Like, that sounds so rude. It felt like she didn't know how to write, so she was like giving you all this like drama so that you'd be distracted by it, which works sometimes. It works sometimes, and I get it. I get it if this is one of your favorite books because the drama was good, but for me, I just couldn't see past like how poorly written it was, which sounds so rude. I hate saying that about authors because obviously they put so much work into writing a book and I couldn't do it. For sure I couldn't do it. But I did give it 2.75 stars, which is my lowest rating of the year so far. Oh my god, actually that reminds me of another least favorite I have, and that was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. That's her newest release this year. I am Abby Jimenez's biggest fan. Like, if there are no Abby Jimenez fans, I'm dead. Like, I'm gone. She is my favorite author, so obviously I was very excited about reading this. I went and got it the day it came out. I started reading it the day it came out, and it heavily disappointed me. I ended up giving it 3 stars, but if I'm being completely honest with myself, I would probably give it like a 2.5. But since it's Abby Jimenez, I gave it a 3 stars, which is a little bit biased. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But this one just really heavily disappointed me. I liked the characters in this book, but one of the main plot lines for this book is like long distance, and I don't necessarily hate long distance. I just hated the way she did it in this book, and I just felt like it was just like and it was very cringy. Like, you've seen it all over on TikTok that like it is very cringy, which I don't like a cringy book. And I will say Abby Jimenez normally kind of has like her own little quirkiness in her books, but this time it was like way too much for me that I was like literally dying. Rhysand from ACOTAR was mentioned like 10 times before we even got to the halfway mark, and I just wasn't interested in that. I love ACOTAR and I love Abby Jimenez, and you would think that those two things together would be like my holy grail, but honestly it just made me want to barf. I'm pretty sure also this year I've only DNF'd 2 books so far. I could be wrong. Once I DNF them, I kind of forget about them. And that is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I got about to the halfway point. I got to the point. Like, if you read the book, you know, like I got to the main like climax, I guess, of the story, and I DNF'd it because I was trying to see it out. It wasn't for me. It was very character driven, but like in a way that I was like, bro, why am I reading chapters upon chapters about how this dude likes to drink his coffee? And I also DNF Phantasma. I forgot who the author is, but I got a decent way through this as well. I like the premise of it. I liked the setting. Like, it was a super fast-paced fantasy. It was everything I thought I would love in a fantasy. But then like halfway through, I was just like, I don't really care what happens. And I don't know, it was just kind of getting bleak and mundane to me, so I DNF'd it. But I do think I might pick it up again later. I don't know, maybe it was more of like a soft DNF than it was a real DNF. Okay, enough yapping about my least favorite books. We're gonna go ahead and talk about my favorite books of the year so far. I picked out 4, which is really hard for me to do because honestly, like, I've had a great reading year. So we're gonna start with the 2 that aren't 5 stars, and then I'll go into my 5 stars. And then I think I'm gonna save the best for last. Like, my favorite book of the year so far. So stay tuned. I don't know. Okay, so I guess I'll just go in like timeline order. So Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I have never read a book by her before. I know she's pretty popular in the book community space, but I was listening to this podcast that I love. You've probably heard of it. It's called I'll Read What She's Reading, and they did like an interview of her, and so they got on Zoom and like they were talking about her books and how she, you know, writes and stuff, and so that made me really excited, and I just loved her as like a person. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give her books a try. I've seen this one everywhere. I'm pretty sure she has 2 different like series that are interconnected. I could totally be wrong, but this is the one I started out with, and I absolutely devoured it. What did I end up rating this? Let's see. I ended up giving it a 4.5, so not quite a 5 star. This was just so refreshing. We have 2 main characters who kind of have like a physical disability. Our male main character is was battling cancer, and so he had to have his leg amputated, and then our female main character has some kind of deformity in her hand that she was born with. I forgot what it's called, but it's actually what the author has as well. So I just thought that was so refreshing. It was so cute. Bo, which is the male main character in this, is so golden retriever, like epitome of golden retriever. I don't normally like accidental pregnancies, but this one was done beautifully. And so now I'm definitely on the Hannah Bonham Young hype train. I've already read a 2nd book of hers. And I'm excited to read more. I think she's coming out with another one this year that I'm dying for. And then my next 4.5 star read of the year was Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I live and breathe and die Ali Hazelwood. I love her writing. I don't know why I never got to this one, but it was on sale for my Kindle. I think it was like 99 cents. So I read it and I loved it. It honestly might be, it's definitely competing for one of my favorite Ali Hazelwood books. Not in Love is my favorite, and this one might be my 2nd. I just loved it. It was like grumpy sun, like it was just everything I needed and more. The whole premise of it is super fun. Like, she is a very poor like student teacher kind of like thing. It's very STEMmy. Obviously all her romances are like STEM romances besides Bride, which is like a paranormal like romance. But all of her romances are STEM romances. She is like a student professor type thing, so she is broke, like she has no money. So on the side, she like fake dates people and gets paid to fake date them for like whatever reason they need. And so she is fake dating this guy, and she meets the brother Jack, who also ends up being in the like STEM space, and specifically he works at MIT, which is where she is interviewing for a job at. And so it's just so good. It was so good. The only reason I give it 5 stars is because if you know Ali Hazelwood's writing, you know there's always something in there that's just like a little bit millennial. And so for this one, it was the fact that the female main character loved cheese. She talked about cheese probably about every other chapter. That might be a little bit of like a long shot. That's probably not true. But once I started like catching on to like her love for cheese, it started getting a little bit annoying. So yeah, not a 5 stars, literally only for that reason. I can't do it. I hate a cringy book. Like, I am judgmental, and so yeah. Alrighty, my next 2 5-star reads. Here we go, here we go. Ah! So like literally thinking about these and talking to you guys about these is making me so happy. Anyways, so stupid. Anyways, my first 5-star read of the year was Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I fucking loved this book, and I haven't read the rest of the series yet because I'm scared. Like, I'm actually scared. This is one of my, I think this was like my first sci-fi book. Well, I guess Hunger Games, but okay, this is like my first, I'm just gonna go ahead and call this my first sci-fi book because I read Hunger Games a long time ago, and I was a little bit nervous getting into it, but like the whole premise of this book and the series was literally right up my alley. So basically in this world, they have conquered everything thanks to kind of like AI, basically. They call it the Thunderhead in this series, but basically AI has solved everything. Like there's cures for everything. There's no world hunger. Basically you cannot die because there's a cure for everything, like genuinely everything. So use your imagination on that one. But in order to control the obviously growing population in this world, they have people called scythes go around and glean people. It's like strategically picked, unless you're kind of like a menace scythe. I don't know, like there's like bad scythes and then there's good scythes, but they go around and glean people to keep the population from getting too crazy. Following two apprentices in this book trying to compete against each other to scythedom, because you have to be an apprentice and then you get your scythedom and you go through all these trials to make sure, you know, you're an ethical scythe even though you're like killing people. And I devoured this book and I'm very excited for the rest of the series. I have the next one, I just haven't read it yet because I'm scared. Love this first one and I know people say the second one isn't great, so I'm a little bit nervous. So if you have been wanting to read this one, I definitely think you should take this as your sign because it was just so fun. If you like kind of like weird books, this is definitely gonna be right up your alley. And then my favorite book of the whole year so far, it's on a high pedestal, so it might be hard to beat, is The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I love Jessa Hastings. So obviously I went into this with very, very high expectations and they were met. In this book, we're following Georgia, who lives in London but is called back to her city in South Carolina because her father has recently and unexpectedly passed away. So she has to go back for, like, you know, obviously the burial and all that stuff, trying to figure out all that stuff that you do when someone in your family passes away. In this book, the city that she lives in and really just her family dynamic is very, very Southern, very godly, very traditional Southern, like that kind of thing. And so her best friend is her brother, who is gay, who is kind of ostracized by the family because he's gay, because they are very godly, they're very Southern. And so she's also kind of ostracized from her family because she, like, that's her brother and they are besties. So that is kind of like the trauma that we go through in this book. But her brother brings along his sponsor for alcoholism and his name is Sam Penny. I can't even honestly get words out to describe this book because it's so good. And it is a standalone, which is good but also not, because I would love to see more of all of these characters. But I do think that she did a good job wrapping this all up. I will say the ending wasn't my favorite just because, like I said, it's a standalone, so she was trying to kind of wrap it up in a bow. I don't think it was done terribly, it just wasn't my favorite. It's a little bit rushed, but I can see past it because, like, seriously guys, this book, I still think about this book every single day. I don't normally get emotional in books, but something about Georgia rekindling her relationship with her other older brother, his name is Tenny, was like genuinely so beautiful to me. I don't know, I started crying when they like had this moment at the end of the book and I was like wow, like this is life-changing. Anyways, that is kind of like my mid-year bookish wrap-up. I am very excited to see what the rest of the year brings. I'm hoping I can get out of this slump soon because I'm dying. I'm literally in the trenches right now, guys. Let me know down below what you have read this year, what your 5 stars of this year have been so far, because I need help finding my next 5 star. I need something to compete with this because I want to put it to the test. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's like weird, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next one, hopefully. Bye.